You came back to me. The heavens must have a plan for us. We should get some rest.
Move this man!
Well, that was certainly one of the most Final Fantasies of all time. Like 30% too long, but man, what a trip. This video is more like a collection of my thoughts right after beating it, than the reviews that I usually do. Pretty much just talking over gameplay. So we all agree that this is one of the strongest openings in the history of the franchise, right? Probably since 7? I mean, all of them have iconic scenes, but this one does so much for setting up the world, the combat, and the tone. The very visceral finale, the way it sets up the antagonists so very Game of Thrones like. Man, this one's a gut-wrencher. In fact, I thought the game would be about royal conflict way more than it actually turned out to be. It's sad that the game can't hold the feeling, especially after Cid's demise. It really has a pacing problem between the main story and side quests or hunts unlocking. In earnest, the game could have done with like 70% of them and be better off for it. I did all of them, and there are like 4 of them with acceptable quality that is more than an MMO side quest. Every major bearer and confidant in your merry crew is very well characterized and acted, yet they also feel very unconnected to Clive in the bigger story. Well, save for Gav, he's the best. My guess it's because this is a character action game instead of an RPG party where you fight with your friends. They just stay behind save for a few exceptions. It's for the best, as anytime Clive zooms over the battlefield, the guys with just a straight sword do fuck all. The 3 major human bad guys are all pretty good, even though they all have their own specific drawbacks. Probably my favorite bad bitch, but she is really hurt by her placement as the first one, and also Cid should have been there for the fight, cause it's so personal for them, it feels weird. Hugo is the best one-on-one, even though he kinda gets chopped out after all the revenge build-up. It really helps that you fight him on an even ground before you get completely overpowered through the progression of the game. Barnabas is such a weird one. From the moveset to his choice of colors, they wanted him to be our Virgil so bad, but it's just too much. From regal conqueror to mummy issues to crazy hurt me more snake in the span of 2.5 fights. What is he even talking about half the time? Ultima is more or less fine, more like a concept than an actual character anyway. It does tie nicely back to the theme of slavery and freedom, be it to people, nations, fate, or even gods. All in all, it is a huge step up from 15 and whatever this fedora wearing jerk was, but it still can't live up to the bads of the old classics, or maybe even 14 for that matter. Like I said earlier, I'm really happy with the crew overall, even if it never feels like a traditional party. Jill is really simple, but is a childhood friend done right. Her story arc ends too soon. Like, the thing about her revenge is over way too early, leaving her with nothing to do in the endgame. I don't agree she is passive, but being kidnapped like 2.5 times doesn't help. Cid is the perfect mentor figure, his voice actor has the coolest voice, and I think he slept with all of the hot people in the world. Torgal is a very good boy. Joshua is likable, even though his weird mystery angle is overplayed for what it actually is. Every other supporting character ranges from great to okay. In concept, fighting kingdoms over ever smaller livable land, climate change, bearers, racism/slavery, and dominance, weapons of mass destruction. All things you need for a classic RPG story. Sad thing is, you never really learn anything about the difference in culture. You only ever go anywhere to blow shit up. Are the people from the Empire fundamentally different than Rosaria? Hell if I know. This game gives you 2 whole lore NPCs and a real-time lexicon for a lovable, easy to follow conflict.
Why, the beast has the appetite of a behemoth. Just this very morn, I found him with his nose buried in my nuts.
FF14 always gets criticized for being a straight line from cutscene to cutscene with fights in between. This is just the same. There's nothing to see or do in these open spaces besides to go to waypoints and fight stuff. Like really, every bigger open space on this map is either a hunt or a side quest location. I even felt too slow on Ambrosia for how needlessly big some of these areas are. Visually everything is top notch, it just feels empty and runs like shit if too much is going on. Clive himself is such a Girl Scout that the only interaction he has is to do stuff for this turbo racist or walk away from the side quest. It's a far cry removed from how Geralt handles very similar situations, sarcastically or forcefully. Geralt can press people for more information, their take on the situation, or just good old cash.
Find something else to laugh at. I don't know, catch some frogs and shove straws up their asses.
Huh? Not one of your Witcher games?
Witcher version's different. Don't make me show you.
Clive can hit stuff and watch a preset outcome fulfill. This isn't to say there aren't worthwhile moments. They just don't cut as deep as they should. Kind of my cyberpunk problem all over again. Combat has left me with the biggest question of all. At the start, it is traditionally limited, like the first 3 levels of a DMC game, only for the game to hit its high point 30% in with 3 to 4 icons unlocked. After getting Bahamut, not even talking about Shiva or Odin, it gets silly. Nothing can even touch you. Bosses, you just chain ultimates until they fall into the dirt. No difficulty slider will change that. It feels like DMC5 combat designer Suzuki was afraid of making a big boy character action game and kind of added the stagger system to create a mutant between DMC, FF7R and Kingdom Hearts? I don't think I will play this, even though I love replaying all the old FF games. Well, not 15.
And if you take something already delicious like cup noodles and add in the finest, freshest ingredients, what do you get? The ultimate flavor experience.
I really love Soken's FF14 soundtrack, it's goated. And this one has some real bangers. I'm missing the variety in themes I've come to be used to. All of this sounds samey, save for like 8 bangers of tracks. Maybe it was the direction, but I kinda expected more, which may be a setup on my part. Overall, I think they created a very worthwhile experience that lives up to the franchise legacy. It's no 10 out of 10 home run, but especially the highs of this journey are incredible, and the ending really kicked my gut. Until I realized what they were going for in the side quests. It just there are some points that I don't get why they're there, and what was the decision behind them. I don't know what the future holds, but I could go for a Leviathan DLC or something along those lines. It could end up as the best part and really flesh out shortcomings of the experience. Action seems to be the future of Final Fantasy, so if FF7R and this one are anything to go by, we will witness many high-class Final Fantasies